Imagine a world where laughter was scarce, where war and poverty ruled, where hope was just a faint whisper in the wind. In that world, a man rose from the shadows, a man who transformed his pain into joy, his scars into smiles. What if I told you that the greatest comedian the world has ever known was born into silence, raised in suffering, and lived most of his life in shadows? What if I told you, behind the laughter, there was a boy, abandoned, broken, and hungry? This is not just a story of fame. This is not about Hollywood glamour. This is the story of a warrior who battled poverty with humor, who defeated despair with a smile. This is the story of Charlie Chaplin, the man who made the whole world laugh while he was silently crying. Born on April 16, 1889, in London, Charles Spencer Chaplin came into a world that was already stacked against him. His father was a drunk, a singer who vanished into the streets. His mother, Hannah, was a struggling stage actress, battling mental illness. By the time Charlie was just 7 years old, he had tasted abandonment, starvation, and humiliation. He slept in workhouses. He begged for bread. And he watched, helpless, as his mother was taken away to a mental asylum. Poverty is not a choice, he once said, but it can become the foundation of greatness if we let it. In the silence of his suffering, Charlie learned something powerful. He learned to observe, to mimic, to transform pain into performance. As a boy, Charlie found escape in the streets. He would watch clowns, mimes, and performers and then go home to recreate their acts in front of a cracked mirror. By age 10, he joined a clog dancing troupe. By 12, he was acting in plays. The stage became his salvation. But the hunger never left. He walked to auditions with torn shoes. He slept in alleys, surviving on dry bread and tap water. Then, in 1910, he got the chance of a lifetime. A tour to America, the land of opportunity. Little did he know, that land would soon make him the most recognizable face on earth. When Charlie first walked into the Keystone Studios in Los Angeles, he was nervous, unsure, and dressed in his second-hand clothes. But then he created a character. A character that would go down in history, the tramp. Baggy pants, oversized shoes, a bowler hat, and a tiny mustache. With no words, just expressions, movement, and soul. The tramp spoke directly to the hearts of people across continents. Poor or rich, happy or broken. Everyone saw themselves in the tramp. Because the tramp was not just a clown, he was a survivor. Just like Charlie. By the 1920s, Charlie Chaplin was one of the richest and most famous men in the world. But behind the scenes, he battled loneliness. The boy who had once been homeless now owned mansions. But he still felt like the hungry child outside the bakery window. He said, "I remain just one thing, and one thing only, a clown. It places me on a far higher plane than any politician." He poured his soul into films like The Kid, Modern Times, and City Lights. Each movie was a mirror of his past. The child torn from his mother. The man struggling in a mechanical world. The lover yearning for connection. Chaplin refused to use sound in his films even when the world moved on. Why? Because silence was his language. In silence, he had survived. In silence, he had learned to make others feel. He believed that laughter was universal, and sorrow, even more so. And when he finally did speak, in The Great Dictator, he shattered the world with words. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. He dared to criticize Hitler when others were silent. He dared to use comedy as a weapon against hate. But not everyone liked his courage. In the 1950s, during the Red Scare, America accused him of communist ties. With no trial, no evidence, and no voice. They exiled him. He boarded a ship to Europe and was told, "Never return." Imagine that. The man who gave America its golden age of comedy was now unwanted. But Charlie, ever the tramp, kept walking. He found refuge in Switzerland. There, in silence again, he wrote, he reflected, he healed. In 1972, 2 decades after his exile, America apologized. They invited him back to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Oscars. When he stepped onto the stage, the world stood still. And then, they stood for 12 minutes. The longest standing ovation in Oscar history. It wasn't for fame. It wasn't for money. It was for the boy who never stopped walking. For the clown who never stopped believing. Charlie Chaplin passed away on Christmas Day, 1977. But legends do not die. His legacy lives in every silent smile. In every tear turned into laughter. In every soul that chooses to rise, no matter how many times it falls. He taught us that you don't need a voice to change the world. You just need courage, art, and a little bit of hope. To the dreamers watching this. To the ones with broken pasts. To the silent strugglers, the forgotten fighters. Remember this. Life is a tragedy when seen in close-up, but a comedy in long shot. Charlie Chaplin. So take a step back. Smile. And keep walking. Because one day, the world will give you a standing ovation too. This is the legacy of Charlie Chaplin. This is the power of a smile.